Today's guest we have for you is ex-New York Mets baseball player, outfielder for the Israel national team, and executive director of More Than Baseball, Jeremy Wolf. Welcome to the podcast.
Hey, buddy. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, you're a great person to have. You've overcome a lot and you've created some interesting and amazing things. So I'm excited to hear what you have to say, and I think everybody will find it interesting as well.
Oh, dude, it means a lot to just like have done the things that I enjoy and people want to learn more about it. It's so if I have something to give or teach, or I'm happy that we can like talk about it. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, right now we're a small platform, but we're growing, and I'm going to try to reach out to as many people like me and like yourself that have had to overcome a lot to succeed. So, even if it's a few people, I'm glad to reach who we're reaching. So real quick, could you just give the people that don't know you a brief outline of your life, some of the places, teams, organizations you've been a part of, to help everybody kind of get to know you a little bit?
Yeah, sure. I born and raised in Scottsdale, Arizona. Had the opportunity, the fortune to go play college baseball. The only school that actually looked at me was called Trinity University in San Antonio, Texas. Small Division III school. Only 2 players had ever gotten drafted out of there. But they called and were like, "You're gonna play, and we're gonna win a national championship your senior year." And I was like, "Okay, cool." One of my best friends from high school came with me, and it was just like the most amazing experience to just play baseball and not worry about scholarship. I worry about student loans, but I got to play 100% of my time. I had to focus on baseball, which was incredible and everything I had ever wanted. I got drafted by the Mets, and that was just like the cherry on top of just an awesome experience. And played 2 years and got injured at the end of my second year. And it was so unfortunately difficult. Minor league baseball it's hard. It's supposed to be hard. It's not supposed to be easy to make it to the major leagues.
Of course.
But and you can attest to this too. The environment itself of minor league baseball is not conducive to the athlete's well-being, their mental health, their performance. It's not. And so More Than Baseball, something I had started in 2018, is just an opportunity to provide someone who's dedicating their whole life to something, just give them a bit of solace or comfort or knowing that somebody's there. So I got injured at the end of my second season. I had back surgery at the end of the year. I got released 2 weeks later, or 4 weeks later, excuse me. That it was so interesting to be in that position, because you go, this is my whole life. I get injured and now I'm released and now I don't do that thing anymore. Oh, and I can't walk.
Right.
Who is there to protect me? Who is there to answer questions about my back injury? Or do I need a lawyer? Like, is this okay that this happened? Who do I go to? How do I transition out? Who can help me build a resume? Can somebody help me get a job? These are all questions that More Than Baseball tries to answer. And I think we've done a really good job in just providing a resource to people who need a resource. From that, I've just kind of dedicated myself and my life to just the well-being of athletes. I started a company called Mind Ready. We provide virtual mental health coaching for athletes. The reason I started that was because it was something that I wanted and that I needed. And if I needed it, I'm sure somebody else will need it. I'm sure another person will need it. And so providing something that isn't there before, there's a whole lot of fun in figuring this out. But there's a whole lot of, I take a whole lot of pride in when you reach out, or when minor leaguers reach out, or athlete reaches out, go, I see what you do, and what are some advice, or can you help me with this? Yes, like there are always opportunities to provide value, and you're asking because you don't have something in front of you to support you. And so 4 years into More Than Baseball, a year into Mind Ready, like we're providing this ecosystem, this environment of just supporting athletes during and after their careers, and that will enrich someone's well-being. That to me is fun and important. And,
right. Yeah. When guys like me and other minor leaguers that are kind of maybe in the same situation or maybe a worse situation see you and see you of where you were at when you were us and then where you're at now, I think it's a good role model to have somebody up there that started a company and has those foundational ideas to support everybody that you went through. I think it's only going to grow the knowledge of what's going on and how to help people, and what are the problems and situations of people in my situation right now too.
It's exactly like you starting a podcast.
Mhm.
You want to start a podcast because you want to talk to people about their journey, or you're starting a podcast because you want to hear something that isn't there before. And for me, what isn't there before is an opportunity to create something that supports somebody else.
Right.
And if I can do that for a living, that's great. And if I can do that to help people, that's great. And you have to put yourself in positions to make that a possibility. And that's like the biggest thing I've learned from everything that I've like done or gone through, where to me, it feels natural. To other people, they go, "Oh my God, you've done so much." I don't feel that.
Yeah. I'm sure you started at some point where like this is similar to me starting this right now, where like you look at what you've done and who you've touched. And even though it might be 5 people or 6 people, you realize that, those are potential that, you don't know who these people are. They could be random people that are looking for somebody to guide them. And I'm sure like More Than Baseball has taken off to, thousands of athletes and people from all across the country. But yeah, just a very similar situation.
It's like, what do I want to do with my life? The short time I'm on this planet, I'm born, I get a dash, and then I die, right? What do I want to accomplish? Where do I want to leave my footprint? And if that's providing a safe space for athletes to be able to focus on their athletics and then know there's somebody there to support them when their career is over, which happens for 100% of athletes except for Julio Franco, well then yeah, that's worth spending my time on.
Yeah, but even for him, it ends. It's not something that's going to last forever. So
true.
But hopping back to your baseball career a little bit. So you said you grew up in Scottsdale, and you went to Chaparral High School, right?
I did, yeah.
And you were able to play alongside people like Dylan Cousins and some other former major leaguers, and you ended up winning a Division I state title, right?
Well, they had the good fortune of playing alongside me. Yeah,
there
absolutely.
You go. Yeah,
and we won. We actually won 2 state championships. So I don't know where you're getting your facts, buddy. But
you might have to do some updating on your Wikipedia page.
That's true.
But
I'll tell my mom to go edit that.
So what ages were you when you were on the varsity team and first won your first state title?
My freshman year of high school, I was on the freshman team. Sophomore year of high school, I was on the JV team. Third year of high school, I don't know, you're 16, 17 at that point. I played 12 games that year. Senior year, I hit behind Dylan Cousins and had a Chance Adams. Both dudes got to the major leagues within the next 5 years, which is so awesome. But
it is.
I think of that team, Dylan played the longest, and then Chance is still playing. Dylan retired and is playing football now, and then me, which is really amazing to think about. To where, when I was in high school, I wanted to play as long as I could, and I had the opportunity to play with Team Israel and qualify for the Olympics and prepare for the Olympics. And they brought on Ian Kinsler, which is totally fine. I would pick Ian Kinsler over me any day of the week. But to be 28 years old and still, I still practice my swing at 28 years old. That to me, like, I didn't make it to the major leagues, but my career is an overwhelming success because I had the good fortune to play that long.
I mean, Olympics is a pretty big thing too, like if it's not the major leagues, Olympics and representing your country is a pretty big deal.
Well, I wasn't in Tokyo, or
at least qualifying, you're playing with them, right?
So I had that. So like I was there in 2019, I got my citizenship, joined the team. We won in Bulgaria, we won in Lithuania, we won in Germany, and we won in Italy, and we qualified.
Cool to play in all those countries too, by the way. Very cool.
I got to be there. I got to be in that culture. My travel was paid for. I was in the hotel with these amazing guys. I got to play with Danny Valencia. I got to play with Ty Kelly and Ryan Lavarnway and Ian Kinsler. Like that. When I get to look back on my career, I had the opportunity to share the field with major leaguers. I walked off a game against Sweden.
Wow.
It was a walk-off walk, but my eyes were good. I got to do these incredible things because of baseball, right? And I want to provide, I want to give back to kids who want to be in that position. I lived in Israel because of all of this. Like, Who would have thought as a senior in high school that 8 years later, I'd be living in Israel because baseball brought me there?
Right.
Unfathomable.
I mean, you really never know where the game's going to take you, right? Like, just tons of places to play. And you look at play things like a World Baseball Classic, and baseball being brought back to the Olympics, and now it's worldwide. So, being able to have a walk-off walk against Sweden is, something that I've never thought of in my life, but you never know. We could be there at some point. And
so my career, like 2 years of professional baseball, 4 years of college, like won this, did this thing, won this thing. But like I get to look back and I get to look at like the relationships I built and the path that baseball put me on and the things I was able to create and continue to work on. Because that like things that bring me immense joy is when a minor league baseball player calls us or writes to us and goes, "Can you help me with this?" And we are able to provide him something. That's a win. He trusts us and we have something to give him. That helps more than just baseball. That helps their families. That helps the future. That's fun.
Yeah, I mean, I know it helped me when you guys first reached out to me, and I kind of got involved in your situation, in the same situation that you like to help people in, and it really helped me a lot. But yeah, obviously, playing for Team Israel must have been an amazing experience, just being able to represent your country. What was the process like for you to be able to join the team and then go on to like represent your country and play against other teams, players representing their own countries too?
In the World Cup, you get everyone who's like a descendant of that country, their grandma, like I'm Italian and my grandma's from Italy and my grandpa's from Italy, and the flag would hang up in our house and like we are Italian, right? And the other side of me is Jewish and we love Israel and we go to Israel and we do all like those things. And so you go to the World Cup or you watch the World Cup and there's like the French, right? And there's the Germans and there's immense pride in who you are and where you come from and what that flag or what that represents. And I got to wear Israel on the global stage. I got to represent the little Jewish kid in Phoenix or the little Jewish boy in New York, a little Jewish girl who's a baseball fan and plays baseball in Georgia. Like I got to represent who I was and my people on the global stage, wearing Israel in Germany, during Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah, like during these high holy days for Judaism. I get to be in Germany playing baseball. That, like, when we take a step back and we think about the value of sport and the importance of sport, and then to be able to not only participate, but to contribute and to be part of the journey and to be part of a team that qualified for the Olympics that certainly was not supposed to do that, was thought of as a joke, was a laughing stock. Oh, a bunch of American Jews are going to go qualify for the Olympics representing Israel. Well, the Israeli government supported it. The IOC begrudgingly allowed it to happen. And Jews around the world, baseball fans around the world, saw that this little country and these people were able to qualify for the Olympics and win a game. I think beat Korea and almost beat Korea again and almost win a medal.
Right. Yeah.
And to have played a small role in that, or to have been a phone call away from participating in that, to be with the team. And I went back to Arizona and they are in the terminal next to me flying to Tokyo. You take your wins and your losses. And for me, I would it have been cool to be in the Olympics? Certainly. You're not going to convince me otherwise. But to have played a role and to be part of it is, I know, honor of a lifetime.
Yeah, I mean, that takes you right back to like the core values of the types of people that we try to have on here, right? Like the whole team as in itself, Team Israel, you said they were like underdog, laughing stock, kind of stuff like that. And then you go on to, get a win and qualify, all that kind of stuff. And, just qualifying in itself is a big step in overcoming a lot of, people out there saying, oh, you can't do it. The team's a joke. They're not going to make it anywhere. And, I feel like that's a really important message to a lot of people, even kids, playing on club teams. If their club team isn't very good, they're your parents always wanting you to move to a different club team, or coaches, telling you that you're not good enough when you're 10 years old. There's value in all this stuff, no matter how young or how old you are. But,
yeah. And if a little boy meets me or Googles me and sees that I did this and did this and did this and did this, it gives him or her hope, and it gives them the understanding that they can do it too. If someone like me can just like put myself in the right positions in the right time to do these incredible things and just take a leap of faith, like moving to Israel because I got citizenship and they were going to give me a couple $1,000s to move in,
right.
to give me that incredible life-changing experience, well then why not? They can do it too.
Yeah, or even like what you just said. You said opportunity, and we were talking a little bit before this, and you said that the only opportunity that you had to play in college was Trinity, correct? Right? Division III baseball. But your coach said to you that your senior year you're going to win a national championship. So just looking at what you did at Trinity, it looks like you had a 367 batting average with Trinity school record 72 doubles. And then you were named West Region Player of the Year, Southern Collegiate Conference Player of the Year, 2 first-team All-Americans, as well as a Jewish Sports Review College Baseball American. And lastly, your coach came through and you guys came through and won a Division III baseball championship in 2016, correct? So yeah. So I mean, just saying, like, what did it feel like for you going through college, having so much success, and what helped you play consistently throughout your career, coming from the mentality of this was the one opportunity that I got?
For 4 years, I was absolutely dedicated. 100% of my time and my energy and my focus was to get drafted. What could I do today to get drafted in 4 years? That was it. Sure, I went to class and I studied school and I graduated, and I have a college degree. Like, I'm very fortunate to have the opportunity to do that. And baseball brought me to a school that provided this incredible resource and breadth of knowledge. But like, I was able to be part of a team that we're still close, to have built those relationships with that team, and to have gone through the gauntlet of freshman year, almost making it to the World Series, sophomore year, barely competing in a regional, third year getting to the World Series, but getting short, and going into our 4th year, we have the best offense in possibly the history of college, Division III college baseball. We have an all-senior starting lineup. We have an all-senior pitching staff, and we have an all-senior bullpen, except for one freshman who is a stud. We are loaded, and we get into our first meeting, and I look to the first baseman. His name is Nick. I go, "We're winning the national championship this year," and he goes, "Yep." It wasn't like, "Let's win the national championship and let's do this. We got to do this. We're so close." No, it was day in and day out, put in the work to then put us in a good position tomorrow, or put us in a good position to win that game. And so that team taught me everything I ever wanted to know about sport, about competing, about myself, about how far I can take it in baseball, because we were so focused, the entire team, our coaching staff, to our athletic department, to our trainers, to just winning that day, that inning. And we lost our senior day against Southwestern, and we won 17 games in a row after that to win the World Series.
Wow.
Against the best teams in the country. And we went in and we smashed dudes, because we just are 100% focused and confident in our ability. And that team moved in unison better than any team I'd ever been on, certainly, but any team I had ever seen. And we won a national championship. And 5 days later, I was drafted. And I had the opportunity to do that. Number one, I'm left-handed, and that helps a lot. But number two is because, like, my personal goal, I wrote them on the mirror. This is what I wanted to hit this year. This is how many doubles. This is how many RBIs. This is how many home runs. And Bruce Maxwell, who had played at Birmingham Southern, he got drafted about 6 years before me. I had the opportunity to speak with him over the phone a few months ago. And I just told him, like, dude, like, because of you, I got to play in the minor leagues. Because of you, I got drafted. Because you proved that it was possible for someone in Division III to get drafted. He was drafted in the 6th round. He was a catcher. He was an absolute stud, like won Player of the Year twice. Like, it was incredible, right? Should have played D1, like didn't though.
Yeah, you can't say that you didn't help then, you know?
And so I wrote his stats on my mirror, and I wrote what I wanted it. I wanted to hit he hit 472 senior year. Like, that's incredible. I think he hit 9 home runs. I think he hit like 24 doubles. Like, I wanted to beat that. Every time I was in the batter's box, every time I was hitting BP, and every time I was on the tee, and every time I was in the weight room, though if some of my friends were listening, they'd say, oh yeah, okay. That was my focus. And so I'm able to, like, now that I coach athletes and I kind of mentor them, and I go, you know, this is what I did. Maybe this will help you. And I was very focused. When I got to professional baseball, that focus was gone because I was more worried about, do the coaches like me? Am I gonna get, you know, there were so many auxiliary factors that I couldn't focus back on my performance. And I got lost in all of the pressures that come with professional baseball. And I got hurt, and then it was it. And I was in and out in 18 months. And now I'm doing all the things that I do as a byproduct of that, but, you know, certainly didn't really take the minor league baseball thing where I had wanted to, which is
It's
okay.
a different world. You know, it's a completely different thing than what I'm sure you experienced in Division III and what I experienced in JUCO and Division I too.
Yeah.
You know, you've got millions of dollars invested in one guy. When in JUCO, you know, you had a hard time finding 3-team bats to use, you know. But just to bring up a couple of points that I kind of picked out of all you were saying throughout your college career, it seems like to you a lot of connection between your teammates was a very important thing, as well as not only connection, but competition, like internally within each other, is kind of what helped you guys drive, you know, your success towards winning a national championship. Because the few teams that I've been on, I feel like the less that you have to say, oh, we're going to go win a championship, we're going to go win this game, the more you win, you know, because the less you say it, it's just there. You have guys competing against each other, wanting to write, you know, your 6th round draft picks stats on a mirror to try to beat that. And you're like, it's good things to do. And, you know, having internal competition is a good thing. And, you know, that's definitely motivating each other instead of just, you know, firing out blank words that maybe not everybody believes in.
There was no, looking back, I'm sure there was from our coach or whoever, but there was no like rah speeches and we got to do this today, boys. None of that. I think the best teams that I've ever been on had this confidence that was ingrained in the culture of that team. The 2016 team was so dominant because there were no weak parts. There was no, oh, you know, we have a great lineup, except no, we had 11 guys that could hit at our level. And we had an entire 4-man starting rotation that could all dominate. And we had an incredibly deep bullpen and a shutdown closer that everyone knew our defense was the best in the country and our offense was the best in the country and our pitching was the best in the country. And you know what? We scrimmaged every day, Monday through Friday, Monday through Friday, Monday through Thursday, we scrimmaged, and then we played our games. And we were playing against the best team in the country every single day.
Yeah. So how often, you know, you're playing against these guys that are on your team doing scrimmages? They're like the best players in the country. Other teams know it. Your team knows it. Were they like coming off as like cocky at all? Were they saying that they were the best? Were people saying they were the best team in the country? Or were you just kind of like going about doing the business that they needed to get done?
The best thing about that team, and what I'll take with me to my grave, is that team and the best teams that I see, or the best athletes that I see, just do their job. And Teddy Turner did his job better than anyone else in the country. And Ryan Gray did his job better than anyone else in the country. And Connor Moore was the best shortstop in the country because that's what he knew he could do. And I think that comes from coaches are their teams and teams are their coaches. It's like, you meet someone's dog and that dog acts exactly like that person. Well, why? Because that person, bought that dog, right? You get that personality change. So our team was the personality of our coach, and our coach just let us be us.
It's very important.
And our team was led by seniors who had been there before. It was led by Pepe Santos and Nick Jewett and these guys who just went about their business, did their work. And the rest of the team sees that and they go, oh, they didn't say a word, but they would do their work and they would perform. And then they would go back and do their work and then they would get better and they would perform again.
It's more that internal competition.
And that's what leads to winning teams. So in anything that I do, I try to take that mindset of I'm going to do the work, or we're in a meeting and yeah, sure. Like, I have two amazing co-founders with More Than Baseball. And if they have an idea, that idea needs to be heard. And there's no reason for me, as someone who starts this or is part of this or has this opinion, needs to feel like I need to be more important or more involved or do anything else than anybody else. No, like I sit back and I do my job.
No, it takes a lot for somebody to be, so confident in your own ideas, but also being open to change. And, I think that's what really creates somebody that becomes successful and becomes a leader and wants to inspire people. When you're confident in your own beliefs, but you still are open to taking in other ideas and learning new things to pass down. So,
and like, I learned that patience, right? That I don't need to be the big swinging dick in the room. I never have, and I never will be, because I learned from that team, well, I can still contribute when I play my role. And I played my role, I did my job, and I played my role. And I was fortunate enough to have had the attributes and taller than most, and I hit well, and I'm left-handed, and like that allowed me to continue my career. But I would not have my career and therefore my life now without every single person on that team doing their job and teaching me how I need to act and teaching me how to be a leader. And also winning a national championship goes a really long way in your career. And that wouldn't have happened without that mindset. It wouldn't happen without that culture that was already ingrained from years prior. And so I am a product of my environment, and I am a product of the people around me that have enriched the people around me.
And I'd say that's a working product, just like myself, you never really stop. Like, no matter how old you are or what you're learning, you're always constantly working to figure out something new,
Mm-hmm.
But after all the success that you had in college and being able to win the championship at the end and all your great stats, being a lefty, I'm sure you had a lot of confidence going into the draft. You said you spent 4 years working for that, basically. What was it like for you when it was, day one, then day two, and then day three, and you're seeing like around 20, 25 go by? Like, what was it like for you? Because I know what it was like for me, but what was it like for you as you're going through those days, thinking about when is it going to happen?
I was a fucking mess.
Yeah.
We won the national championship. I come back to Phoenix. I get called by the Mets. Please come to this tryout 3 days before draft day. I bought that next plane ticket out. I flew into Tampa. My friend drove me to St. Louis City. So I flew in like 8 at night. We drove from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. to St. Louis City. I got on the field at 8. And I just gave it everything I had. And I performed well and I felt good. It was like the best I'd ever felt on a baseball field. Left, fly home. Day one goes by. Okay, that's not gonna happen. Day two goes by. I'm like, hey, okay. Day three, I wake up the morning of day three. I'm a fucking mess. what am I going to do with my life? What, I'm in my dad's house. I'm in the shower, like listening to the draft, like obsessing over it. It's like, round 20, pick one of round 20. Okay, not me. Next, not me. I turn my phone off. I go, well, what if they call? I turn my phone back on. I ended up going to eat with my dad and some of his friends from work. They were doing something Saturday morning at somewhere. And I get a text from my friend Bradley. I'll never forget it. All he said was congratulations. And I call him. He goes, you just got drafted by the Mets, the 31st round. I start crying. I'm in the middle of the restaurant. I start crying. I run outside. I'm crying. My dad comes out. It happened. Yeah, it happened. And then my phone blows up. And he looks at me and he says, this is a moment that you will never forget. And this is a moment that will never happen again. So enjoy it. Enjoy it, because it's at a certain point, you're going to have to do the work. And no one's going to call you or congratulate you on anything like this ever again until you make the major leagues.
Yeah.
Okay. So the outpouring of love and support was like really special to have put in the work and it actually come true. And then you fly out 2 days later, and then I miss my flight. And then you call the department, you get another flight, and you get there, and you're there late. All this stuff. And I just look back on it, and I made some mistakes. I said some things I shouldn't have said. It baseball at that point. I was trying to play politics, and I just played the game wrong. And I just didn't feel as though I fit in. And I never adapted to where I needed to adapt to. I played well my first year, but it was not about playing well. It was about like, what spots you fill. And I probably would have gotten released. And luckily I could just say I got hurt and then they released me, because like, if I got released and just performed bad, who knows how I would feel about that entire experience.
Right. I mean, it's a tough and similar mentality to mine. We're both 30 in the 30s as draft picks. I mean, going into it, like you said, the day of, it's something that you'll never forget. You only get once, and everyone's excited for you. And then, reality kind of hits when you get to the complex and you're like, all right, there's a guy next to me in the locker that, just got paid $6 million to do the same thing that I'm doing. But yeah, what was like your mentality first week in the complex as you're going around and you're around guys like that?
First week, I'm in a hotel. I couldn't afford bats. My student loans had just kicked in. I'm making no income. You don't make any money until you start playing games. Hey, do you guys have some bats I can use? No. Hey, they're moving me to first base. Do you guys have like a glove or a discount? No. So I'm already out $1,000, right? Put it on the credit card. I'll pay it later. Well, then you pay your 20%, credit card fee for not paying down your credit card because you don't have any money.
And that's what, a quarter of your signing bonus right there? I signed for
$5,000.
So after tax, what, like 1,500 or 4,500?
3,200.
Okay, so yeah, there you go. So the $1,000 is about a third of your signing bonus.
And you get that after the season, right? So already,
yeah,
it's already on day one. You're like, okay, here we go. But like on the other end, Lucas Duda was rehabbing right over there, and I'm in my locker, like putting my stuff on for the first time, and Zach Wheeler goes, "Hey, buddy, congratulations! Like, we'll see you in the big soon." I'm like, thank you, Zach Wheeler. And I felt, as a Mets, I grew up a diehard Mets fan, right?
Yeah.
So as a Mets fan, I'm, David Wright is right there, and Noah Syndergaard's pitching, and I'm in the outfield. And in my first spring training, it was Noah Syndergaard's pitching, Travis Turner's catching, and David Wright's in the clubhouse. And he was my favorite player ever. And I was number 5 always because of him. He was my Jeter. And then Tim Tebow's in right field. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening right now? And I look back on it and I go, wow, look how fortunate I was. At the time I was overwhelmed by that. And I couldn't just play. I felt like I had to impress. And that was my downfall, and it led to a lot of problems mentally. It led to a lot of problems physically. The stress was just too much, and I'm sure, like, I'd love to hear your perspective on that. Right, your draft stories, 39th round, and now you are in your 4th year, and you were there when the Rays went to the World Series, and now you see these guys and they're in the clubhouse and in the locker next to you. It's
Yeah.
just to be
I
part
mean,
of that is incredible.
yeah, it definitely has been. But looking from your point of view, what would you say now that you're already through all that stuff that you would have done or given advice to yourself to be able to overcome the stuff that you struggled with along that minor league journey?
I live by it now. And I saw it in Succession because it's the fucking best show. But Greg's grandpa, the brother of the billionaire, whatever his name, tycoon guy, whatever his name. And he said, paddle your own canoe. Like I was paddling everybody else's canoe, and then I wanted everybody to be in my canoe. And I was not focused on what the goal was in front of me. And the goal is to perform, and the goal is to be consistent and to do your job. And I did that in college, right? And I had this team of people supporting me, and I was in this environment that I was comfortable with. And then my next journey in baseball was wearing the New York Mets and being part of the New York Mets. But then being too overwhelmed by that guy signed for 500,000, and now I'm here and I back him up, and I know I'm better than him, and I know I'm better than that guy, and I did better than that guy today. And so like trying to impress people, because I came in every day thinking that they were going to call me in the office and release me, instead of going there every day going, I'm going to perform my best today, and I'm going to be calm, and I'm going to be consistent. And I would tell myself, like, do your work and build your routine. And at the end of the day, you're doing your job and you're doing it to the best of your ability. And I look back and go, well, I was nervous about this, and I was anxious about this, and I had a breakdown here, and I drank too much here. I had a problem with this and a problem with this coach. Everything bothered me when that part of the game.
It is. Yeah.
The grind just got to me.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a high stress environment. There's lots of moving parts and lots of people with eyes on you, expecting you to do stuff and to not do stuff. And it can definitely catch up to you real quick.
Yeah. And so like, I get released and I go, okay, like good. Like I'm done. Like, the weight lifted off my shoulders. I don't have to kill myself anymore. And when I started on Team Israel again, I would get so fucking angry when I strike out. I hadn't done it. I hadn't seen live pitching in 3 years. And I think I struck out my first 2 times, and then I flew out my next time. And I was like, fuck, like this is hard. But you get so used to fucking up and failing that I was doing the Team Israel stuff, and I was so mad. And I was like in the batter's box one time, and I was thinking like, this is why I don't want to do this anymore. And I think this was a great experience, and I love baseball, but like, I can't keep feeling horrible after striking out.
Right. Yeah.
The pressure was too much.
Yeah. I mean, there becomes a point, like where if you end baseball with the New York Mets and you say, like I'm finally done, then, maybe it should be that way, like
I take that energy now and I put it into golf.
Yeah.
Because you're very lucky because you're a pitcher and you are in control of everything. You control the pace of the game. You control your energy. You control the team's energy. You control what you do to another hitter. You just have to perfect what you're doing, but you have the power. My whole life was based on reactions. And my whole life is based on, my upbringing and being a hitter it's based on failure consistently. And I am a different mindset than you because I was a hitter and you were a pitcher. But It's a different mindset than a quarterback, and it's a different mindset than a point guard.
There's always different ways to look at it. Like, as a hitter, you could say from my point of view, hitters get 4 opportunities a game to succeed or to fail. A pitcher gets 2 opportunities a week to succeed or to fail, So it's like, if you go 0 for 4 one day and then come back and go 2 for 4, then you can count that, as a success that week. But if I pitch bad and give up like 4 runs on Monday, it's going to be like Tuesday and Wednesday, you're thinking about that. Then Thursday, and then Friday, you finally get a chance and you're like, all right, like what happens now? Like I got to go pitch well, because you don't want to pitch bad 2 times in a row and then that week's over,
Yeah.
but as a hitter, you could get 40 at bats a week.
And you get to fail 35 of those, and that's a good week.
Yeah.
It's an okay week.
Right.
That to me is just such a wild concept in golf. And I take the same energy into like business too.
Right.
That's why nobody explains why anybody wants to hire athletes, but it makes sense. Right? You've put yourself into positions that were uncomfortable and you've always failed. And how did you bounce back? Well, you played college sports because you were able to improve, and you played professionally because you were able to adjust and improve. And that's why you want to hire athletes. But I take it into golf, like you stand above that ball and you are in full control to hit that ball where you want to hit it.
Or at least try.
Or you can at least try, right? But like you have the power to make the decisions. You just have to like work on your swing enough to make sure that you know exactly how far that ball is going to go, or what my swing does here, or I'm on this slope, this type of grass, it's a little bit wet, and I need to like think. And I attribute my outlook on in college the ability to bounce back from failure, and then in the pros, like the ability to just destroy myself from failure and go back to the hotel and just like cry into my pillow and drink and have nobody to talk to and nobody to go to, and then get released and go, what the fuck do I do with my life now?
Yeah, it's tough in those situations to be able to take a step back and realize like, this is a game. There's 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds playing the same thing I'm doing right now. Like if you're in a business environment, there's no 4 and 5-year-olds that are CEOs of anything, but in baseball, there's kids that are doing the same thing. And what should they be doing? They should be having fun. And that's a big thing I see baseball headed in the future, is trying to bring back the concept of having fun and not just treating it like so much of a business. But it's easy to get caught up in that, when you think you have to do this and you need to get it done.
I was in college, I was like the big fish, a small pond at the small school, and like the long ball doesn't get you girls. Like, I don't care what people say. Like, home runs did not work, right, with that. And then you get to the Mets, and you're the smallest little fish in the biggest, gigantic ocean. And you have to, I never could adjust that. And at times I was a prick, and at times I was a dickhead, and I didn't do the things that I wanted to do. And I got angry at people, and I got angry at myself, and I could just never find my footing. And then before you know it, I'm gone. And I give a lot of credit to the people who like stay 4 years, 5 years. I played 18 months, and then some people are doing it 6, 7, 8, 10, 12 years. They figured something out. That's a successful career. I don't care what you say. Like, if you play professional baseball, you're already doing the things that you want to do in baseball. But if you play, if you get to AAA, I know some guys that my career was a failure. I only got to AAA. I'm like, not everybody can get to the big leagues, man. And you got to AAA. You were a bum shoulder away from making it to the major leagues.
Yeah.
You were like this close. That to me is success. So I can look back and look at my attitude and my failure in professional baseball, but look back and go, like, this is what it taught me. This is who I am now. These are the outcomes. This is what I'm able to learn from it. This is what I was able to do from it. And then be able to go back, and if one player hears this and goes, you know what, like, I'm gonna enjoy it while I can. I'm gonna learn from it. I'm gonna move on. When it's time for me to move on, then that's a 100% win, because somebody's able to refocus what they're doing instead of this being like so in about, well, I need to do this, and well, the season's coming up and I have to prepare, and I have to like enjoy the opportunity you have to compete, enjoy the opportunity you have to prepare, where it still means something.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, those are big words, and I feel like you have refocused a lot of that into, founding More Than Baseball and all that kind of stuff. And like what were your first steps in taking that, now I'm a retired or released minor leaguer, to, oh, I have all these ideas on how to make life better for what I just did, and turning that into like a reality?
It was seeing all of the struggle that like all of the good people that I knew doing it had to go through. Kids from Venezuela and the guys from Mexico, and the guys from the Dominican, the guys from even from America who don't have a college degree or do have a college degree. And every single guy in every single clubhouse has something, right? And so if you create this environment that supports them, that nurtures them, that all they wants to do is help them, guys will come to you and seek help when they need to seek help. You needed a glove. We found the opportunity to get you a glove. This dude needed a grant. We found the opportunity to get him a grant. This guy needs housing. This guy needs baths. This guy needs food. This guy's family needs a place to stay. This guy needs to seek asylum. The teams don't do that. Agents don't do that. Other players who actually care about them need that. The people who I like the most I've been able to work with, all they do is just say thank you. Not everybody's going to use us. Not everybody's going to thank us. Not everybody's going to, they're going to benefit from us because behind the scenes, we are pulling all of the strings. Guys are always going to use us when they need us. And if you create an environment where they can get something that they need that will enrich their baseball career, they something that they won't stress about so that they can focus on their performance. And then you give them the environment or the opportunity even to transition from playing in a way that cares about them and wants to help benefit them when their career is over, where you can use baseball as a positive rather than like a detriment.
Yeah.
And now you have the formula for something. And I think over the last 4 years, we've been able to cultivate this culture of when I think people know us now, and they know who we are, and they know what we've done. And we had to earn that. And the fun part is getting them to earn that. And the even funner part is to keep that trust. And I don't get paid from it. It's absolutely 100% blood and sweat and tears. Myself and Slade Heathcott and Simon Rosenblum Larson, your teammate with the Rays, and our board of directors, and the work that you did for us, and the work that Peterson's done for us, and all of these people who have been involved with it. If there was no more than baseball, they would not be involved. This community would not happen. So when we look at the past, we look at the outcomes of that, of what we were created, and we look at the future and we go, well, no matter what happens, this organization will always exist benefiting the well-being of all players. And that itself is an absolute win because it provides a service that wasn't there otherwise.
Yeah, it definitely is. And what are some, even if they're not solidified plans right now, but in your eyes, what does the future of More Than Baseball look to like? Future of More Than Baseball hope to look like, or the goals that you guys want to accomplish?
We had a board meeting yesterday, and we're thinking about like what we did in 2021, what we did in 2020, which was more important. COVID hits.
Tough year for everybody.
Tough year. We raised $1.6 million and we distributed 96% of that. That's a win because it solved the problem. But we look at the future and we go, okay, there's certainly still a lot of issues structurally within Major League Baseball, not supporting minor league baseball. There are still a lot of issues within minor league baseball, not supporting the players. But we look at our organization and the work that we've done has given us a really strong foothold in the community of baseball fans and baseball cities and baseball players that know who we are, right? And what do we do with that? I want us to focus on our core programs, things that are important for every baseball player. Learning English and education, transitioning, financial guidance, financial support, and mental health. And we have all of these, but success to us is when it's not just a player coming to us going, I really want to go back to college. Okay, we have somebody who can help you with that. A success to us would be a major league team goes, well, More Than Baseball provides a lot of value. And if a team sees us and goes, well, I know you can assist in our player development. We are, at the end of the day, a tool for player development. Then providing them this resource built in, that's a win. If a team goes, you guys need anything in housing, education, food, mental health, and a team goes, go to More Than Baseball, which they've done before, but more on like a one-off level. If we are the official something of the Mariners, or the Cubs, or the Rays, or the Diamondbacks, that is a tremendous win, because we are designed and built to do things that they can't. Not that they won't, because the people in the player development departments really want their players to succeed. The players succeed. It's building this culture and this ecosystem of just being a resource and having people at that level actually trust us. Are we going to ever have that? Yeah, I hope so. But if not, we still have these programs. And once we fundraise and do the things that we need to do to maintain these programs, every player, no matter who they are, where they come from, how much they signed for, how long they played, will have access to it, because no other organization in baseball is doing that for them.
Yeah, I mean, you individually have put a lot of blood, sweat, and hard work into the founding the company, along with Slade and Simon. And speaking for me as a minor leaguer, I appreciate all the help and everything that you guys have done for me as well. Yeah, coming off of your crazy story of going through high school championship, college championship, going to the Mets, all that kind of stuff, founding a company. It's really a great story. And yeah, I just want to thank you for coming on the podcast, and thanks for everything that you and your company are trying to do for minor leaguers, and to give us a voice. And I think that we all look forward to the potential impact that you'll create for many people and minor leaguers over the next coming years.
You got it, man. Thank you. Thanks for believing in us and allowing me to tell our story. Appreciate it.
Always, I think more people should give you guys a shot and see where it takes you.
Let's hope.